Some of you might have received a great invitation before. I was thinking about some wedding invitations that we've received that we were especially excited about, or perhaps a graduation invitation, birthday party, something of that nature. But you know, if today the governor or the president, no matter how you may feel about them politically, if they invited you to an estate dinner, then you would be especially kind of awed by that. And you would feel that it was a great blessing to get to go. But when we consider the fact that God is hosting a great banquet one day in heaven, the Bible calls it the marriage supper of the Lamb. But Jesus told a story about a great banquet, and He has invited all of us to attend. How could we say no to Him? How could we say, no, I don't want to go? Or worse yet, say, yes, I'm coming, but then not go. Now, I want you to know I've already made my reservations. I've already RSVP'd and said I'm going to be there. I've returned it. That happened for me in 1979 when Jesus Christ came into my life. I asked Him to cleanse me and forgive me of all my sins, and I yielded my life to Him. And I can tell you there's no greater honor than to be His servant today. It's the most supreme purpose of my life, greatest honor. He has given us, His servants, an opportunity to attend. And He and the servants there in heaven are making preparations. And they're expecting us who have RSVP to be there. Well, in Luke chapter 14 today, Jesus was having Sunday dinner, if you will, at a prominent church member's house. They called him a Pharisee. And He chose that occasion to give some instructions concerning behavior at just an occasion such as that. One of those who assumed that they would be there at this great banquet because of their heritage. Not because they yielded their life to Christ, but because they had were of a certain heritage. They were Jewish. And they just assumed that they would be there. In verse 15, it's not in our overhead, but Luke chapter 14, verse 15, this man says, blessed is the one who will eat of the feast in the kingdom of God. And he's talking about himself. He's almost bragging, I'm going to be there. And yet he had no reason to be there other than the fact that he was Jewish, God's chosen people. But the Jews had long forsaken God, and they had hewn out, as Jeremiah said, broken cisterns for themselves, and they had added all these laws and all these rituals, and if they kept those, then they felt like they were okay with God. So Jesus follows up this man's statement with a story about a great banquet where He's the host. And His message really that day was, just because you talk about heaven, it doesn't mean you're going there. You see, there's a lot of people talk about heaven. They talk about being a Christian, but it doesn't mean they're going there. You see, it's not a one-time decision, but it's a commitment that is a pursuit of a relationship with God. And if you really come to that place where you do commit your life to Him, it is a lifetime pursuit. It's not something that you do haphazardly. And so at their own party, Jesus tells them they're not even coming to His party. It's not because they weren't welcome. It's not because they weren't invited. It's because they wouldn't believe and respond to His invitation. And so let's read the story, Luke chapter 14, verses 16 through 24. Jesus replied, He said, a certain man was preparing a great banquet, and he invited many guests, so it was a big banquet. The King James says that he was or one translation says he was a great man. He had lots of wealth. He invited many guests. And at the time of the banquet, he sent his servants to tell those who had been invited. In fact, it's those from what the culture has taught us about that day and time. They had RSVP. They had said, yes, I'm coming. And so he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, come, for everything is now ready. It's time. But they all alike began to make what? Excuses. One translation says they, with one consent, began to make excuses. And the first one said, I've just bought a field and I must go and see it. Please excuse me. And another said, I've just bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me. And still another one said, I just got married and so I can't come. And so the servant came back and reported this to his master. And then the owner of the house became angry and ordered his servants. He had all this food prepared. He had all this work invested. And they said they were coming, but they had went back on their word. And he ordered his servant, go out quickly. Notice that word, quickly. Into the streets and the alleys of the town. And bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. Sir, the servant said, what you have ordered has already been done. But there is still room. Notate that. There's still room. Then the master told his servant, go out into the roads and the country lanes and compel them to come, so that my house will be full. He said, I tell you, not one of those who were invited will get to taste of my land. Those who said they were coming, but weren't. You're not going to have any part of it. Think about the greatest feast that you've ever thrown. Think about all the work you put into it. If your house is like my house, then not only is all the food prep, purchase of it, and all that been done, the house has been swept clean. In Tammy's case, she cleans the clean. And the outside has been prepared. So it looks nice. That greatest feast that's ever been thrown, it pales in comparison to this invitation. The first invitation went out as long in advance, and many people were RSVP. And when it was time to come, they refused. It was a massive insult. This is a picture of the Jewish leaders, once he's talking to, who believed in the law and the prophets and the kingdom, but they rejected the invitation of Jesus. And it's good for us to know that. But there's more for us to know about this story. Those more likely to be at the table, the religious, they're not going to be there. And those who will be there will be people who come from surprising places. Look at James chapter 2 and verse 5. It says, listen, my dear brothers and sisters, has not God chosen those who are poor in this eyes of this world to be rich in faith, to inherit the kingdom He promised those who love Him? Those are the ones. And so this story is about salvation. And so that's what this story is about. It's about salvation. Who's going to make it to heaven? And it's not going to be the religious. It's not going to be those people who sometime or another said, yes, you know what, I want to follow Jesus. And then you never saw Him again. It's not going to be them. Because a person who follows Jesus follows Jesus. They don't walk out the door only to leave Jesus behind. That decision was fruitless. It bore no fruit. It meant nothing. And so, here's what I want to get into with this story about salvation. The first thing I want you to see is that other things are more important to some. Yes, Jesus is important. I talk to a lot of people and they say, oh yeah, I'm going to heaven. I was saved, I was baptized. And they haven't darkened the door of church in years. They don't know where their Bible is. They haven't opened it. They haven't done anything that bore fruit in their Christian life. They're like these people. We'll read verses 18 through 20 again. But they all alike began to make excuses. The first said, I bought a field. Now let's just stop right there. These lame excuses are given the height of real issue. Did you know that banquets in that day and time, they were never held in the middle of the day? When do you think they were held? In the late evening. So think about this first excuse. I bought a field and I've got to go and see it. Duh! You can't see it in the dark. And by the way, it would be foolish to buy a field and not look at it ahead of time. Now, I've experienced some of this stuff. People tell me all kinds of stuff. And I'm thinking, you think I'm an idiot? That's what I think. And I don't know why. And I just think, but you can't see a field at night. What a lame excuse. It hides the real reason. Is they don't consider the invitation that to follow through with. They made a shallow commitment one time. Yes, we're coming. That was as far as it went. Let's go on and read the next excuse. He said, please excuse me. Another said, I've just bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm on my way to try them out. Same thing. You can't plow at night. And you don't buy oxen you haven't seen. It makes no sense. Only fools would fail to look before they buy. And then the third excuse. Please excuse me. I just got married. I've got to go try her out. No, that's He said, I can't come. That's what he said, I can't come. I just want to see if y'all's listening.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Now you got to understand, women in that day and time were a lot like livestock. They were married most of the time not for their beauty, but for their brawn. And out of service they could rent them. But let's just assume he married her for her beauty and for her love. Did you know women that day and time were not invited to banquets? These banquets were held for men. And so he said, I can't bring her with me, so I got to stay with her. You know what we find out here? Is that people often sacrifice Jesus for materialism, for pleasure, for relationships, and for position. Materialism, position, pleasure, and relationships. Those are the number 4 reasons that people sacrifice Jesus. But the real reason is they just never make the real So those are the excuses they offer. What excuses have you heard? Shout one out there. What excuses have you heard?
My elbow hurts.
What?
My elbow hurts.
Say it loud.
My elbow hurts.
My elbow hurts. Okay. What?
Horrible train.
Horrible train.
Going hunting. Going hunting.
Going hunt?
I've heard that excuse a bunch. When I was
Yeah, going hunt.
going hunting. Yeah.
Going fishing.
Going fishing. Yeah, can't get out of bed.
My stomach
Nothing
hurts.
to wear. Did you know most of those excuses, if you really wanted to come, you could be overcome. So for getting out of bed, nobody can get you out of bed but you. Unless you're a teenager living in somebody else's house, then mom can get you out of bed. Let me ask you a more pressing question. What excuses have you given? What excuses have you made? The invitation is going out to you to participate in this resurrection feast. What's keeping you from the party? Verse 17 said, come, for all things are now ready. It's time. You know, one of these days, the Father's going to turn to the Son, and He's going to say, go. Yeah. And you think you're going to go that day, but you're not. Now, I don't mean to give you the inclination that you can be saved by your self-effort and by your works. But I am telling you, if you are saved today, you will work. Not because you have to earn it, or not because you have to keep it, but because you love the one who saved you. Love. The invitation to a guest home is a gracious offering. But an invite to Jesus' house is an offering of grace. And all of us have received that offering. Some have accepted it, and some did not. So then the next thought here. Not only other things become more important to some, but some receive the gospel invitation. Look who received it. He said, go out to the streets and alleys of the town and bring the poor. Remember the problem? The excuses people offer? Materialism. Do you know, really, living in America, we are rich by this world's standards, and we've got more than we need, and it gets in the way of being hungry for a meal. The bread of life. Because we're living on our own substance. But it's like a sugary substitute. It's like cotton candy. It's there for the moment and then it's gone. The poor, the crippled, the blind, the lame. That nice song they sang talked about letting just those people say what the Lord has done in me. Not what the Lord has done for us, but what He's done in us. Because often He doesn't change our poverty state. Often He doesn't always heal us. But He changes us on the inside so that we become rich and we become strong. The poor, the crippled, the blind, the lame. And that's been done. He said, go out into the highways and the hedges. The old King James used to say, the roads and the country lanes, and compel them to come in. Some received the gospel. Once the original guest had turned down the invitation, he said, go out and find some people. He found, you just kind of qualify this a little bit. The people who received the gospel were the destitute. Free and gracious meal. Healed them because they didn't have money to buy it. I want you to know today that when it comes to spiritual things, we're all poor without Jesus. We're bankrupt. We have nothing to offer Him other than ourselves. We can't earn our salvation. We can't serve our way into heaven. We can't give our way through the offering plate into heaven. You can't do enough. You can't have enough. We're all spiritually poor. And they are destitute and aware that no righteousness and goodness will get them the provision of Jesus Christ. As long as you think you're good enough for heaven, you're never going to go. I'm good enough for heaven. I treat animals kind. I feed my kids. I give a little bit to charity. You think that's good enough, you're never going to get there. This is a great invitation. And Jesus gives us this teaching so that we can realize it's not about what we can do. Those that are away from God today are spiritually poor, having nothing to offer. The Bible says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All. So none of us have anything to offer. And those that receive the gospel are those who realize that they're in a destitute condition before God. Not only are they destitute, but they're disabled. That kind of gets the other qualification, the crippled, the blind, the lame. They're disabled. They have some kind of physical disability. In that culture, that would have been the lowest class of human. They would have been where everybody turned their face away. Spiritually speaking, it is those who understand their spiritual disability that ultimately run to reputation. Because they're accepted. Because God invites them and receives them. They understand they can't save themselves. They understand that their condition prevents them from ever reaching the bank. And I want you to know we're crippled without Jesus. We're blind and we can't see. The Bible says that Satan has blinded the eyes of them that believe not. So the invitation of the gospel appeals to those who know their condition. It's not good to know that God calls those who are destitute in spirit, disabled by sin, alone. He calls us. If you're a believer, that's who we are. We are the disabled. We are the destitute. But God has come into our streets and our lanes and our country ways. He's come to our hedges and our highways. And He said, come to the Father's table. And then He says, compel them to come in. That word compel is the idea to aggressively persuade and convince them. So He said to that servant, He said, I want you to compel them to come. Persuade them. Convince them. And that's what we've got to do when we talk to people about Jesus. We might not feel comfortable talking with them about salvation, but at the least we can do is invite them to church. And we should persuade them and convince them that they really want to come. We've got to help them to see that this is where they need to come to find help in time of need. Let's move on. Servants share gospel invitation. We see not only those that reject the gospel, those that receive the gospel, we see those who share the gospel, those who give an invitation. We have a very clear mission. Go out. Verse 21 and 23. And it's a critical mission because He says go out quickly and compel them. They're going to miss it. They're going to miss heaven if we do not compel them. And then we have a very clear message. Come, for everything is ready. Come. Jesus has done all the work. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to clean yourself up. You don't have to quit drinking or quit smoking or quit cussing. You don't have to quit doing anything. You don't even have to put on a coat and tie or dress. Come as you are. And you'll be accepted at the banquet table. And that's why we're casual here, so that everyone can come. Because Jesus has done everything. Everything's ready. And then we have a message that there's still room. There's still room. We must convince them of the feast and the invitation of Jesus that's been extended to them. And so we should go everywhere and bring them. Mark chapter 5, verse 19, Jesus told the man that He touched, He said, go home. You might have to go home. to tell somebody. Here he said, go to the streets and the alleys and the highways and the lanes. But later he said, go into the whole world in the Great Commission. And so we're all under the mandate to invite people to Jesus. And it starts by inviting them to church, because that's where they're going to hear about Jesus. Come, for things are ready. And they're still ready. Old song says, though millions have come, there's still room for one. There's room across your head. Jesus offers that there's still room in heaven for more. But you know, the Bible says that hell is enlarging itself. It's getting bigger. Because Jesus said, broad is the way that leads to destruction. And many go that way. But narrow is the way that leads to life. And few there be that find it. They need your help to find it. Our message is not a message of religion. We're inviting them to redemption. We're inviting them to life. And knowing that, I call upon all of us to go out into the streets of our community and compel them to come. Tell them that there's still room for them. Let's not be the 2%ers who never invite anybody. The feast is ready, and how dare we sit and enjoy the food while we're surrounded by empty seats. Knowing that 72% of Georgians did not attend church anywhere last year. Anywhere. Not at any time for any occasion. How could we think that we could sit here and just expect them to come? He sent that servant out to get them, to invite them. He didn't say, okay, we'll see who shows up. And yet that's the way the average Baptist is living their life. We'll see who shows up this Sunday. Maybe God calls for more than that. Aren't we more than that? I challenge us all today, not just for next Sunday, but for every day, every Sunday, to invite. There is a great invitation. And if you don't understand how great it is, if you invite somebody and they give their life to Jesus, I want you to know they'll say, thank you for the great invitation. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to church. Thank you. And so, as I close today, we need to be sure that we have a place at the table. Be absolutely sure. And may we then work to bring as many people to the Father's house as we possibly